Question number 6, Faisal Chowdhury.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the First Minister what recent discussion the Scottish Government has had with environmental groups and communities regarding how it plans to deliver strong action on climate change following the removal of the 2030 climate target.
First Minister.
The Government regularly engages with environmental groups and communities on tackling climate change. For example, Cabinet Secretary for Wellbeing Economy, Net Zero and Energy held a roundtable with ENGOs late March, to discuss our climate targets. I've also regularly met with a number of organisations on an individual basis. Of course, these discussions will continue as we consider further action on climate change based on the Climate Change Committee's advice. More generally, it is vital that everyone understands the scale of the climate emergency. Our public engagement strategy sets out our vision for everyone to embrace their role in our transition to Net Zero Scotland. That's why we're providing a vehicle for communities to engage in collective climate action through our network of climate action hubs, something I know the member is aware of. We provided around £4 million in 23-24 to expand the network of hubs right across the country.
Faisal Chowdhury.
I thank the First Minister for the answer. Will the Scottish Government support my colleague Sarah Boyack's amendments to place a purpose of a circular economy in Scotland on the face of the bill, and my colleague Monica Lennon's amendment to put in place a reusable nappy scheme which would take concrete action to reduce consumption-based carbon emission here in Scotland and properly fund local authorities so they can deliver the transformation we need in our local communities?
First Minister.
Of course, any amendments to any legislation will be looked at on their own merits. And what I would say to Faisal Chowdhury, and I know he will absolutely understand this, is that it's important, particularly given we are operating as a minority government, that we continue to hear good ideas and cooperate right across parties where we can. But I would also equally say to Faisal Chowdhury that when it comes to tackling the climate crisis, it makes that imperative, that obligation, far more difficult whenever we bring even the mildest of action to this chamber. It's opposed by, for example, the UK Labour Party, Scottish Labour Party, forgive me, that was a Freudian slip, the Scottish Labour Party, and indeed the opposition. They opposed, of course, in Glasgow, our introduction of low emission zones. They opposed in this Parliament a workplace parking levy. They are trying to water down new heating standards. They've also, of course, time and time again, refused to back any measure that we bring. So for Faisal Chowdhury, of course, we will look at the amendments that he has suggested, or the ideas that he suggested. I would hope his party will do the same so we can work together to tackle the biggest challenge, the existential challenge our planet faces.
I call John Mason.
Thank you. Can the First Minister confirm that Scotland's climate ambitions are very dependent on Westminster funding? And if a future Labour government are just to carry on copying the Tory policies as they seem to be doing, Scotland will continue to struggle to make climate progress?
First Minister.
That's absolutely right. And I've asked Anna Sarwar and the Labour Party on a number of occasions, very gently, just to confirm whether or not they would reverse the £1.3 billion capital cut to our budget that the Tories have imposed on us for the next few years. And every time I ask that question, I get a lot of waffle, but I don't get an answer back. And that is the challenge here, because when it comes to investing in tackling the climate crisis, capital infrastructure is going to be absolutely key, absolutely vital to tackling the climate crisis. We expect the Conservatives to cut our capital budget to the bone. What we need Labour to do is move away from Tory tax and spending plans so we have a chance to tackle, as I say, what is the biggest challenge our planet faces.